Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we are taking a look at the newest hero in Overwatch, hero number 53, a hero that I have been waiting for 8 years. I knew it would happen one day. I'm glad we're finally here. That, of course, is our newest hero, the newest tank hero in the game, D.Mon, or D.Mon. But I'm going to be calling her D.Mon. A mecha pilot, close friend of D.Va's. Let's jump in. Let's take a look at her abilities, her kit, all that stuff, all that fun stuff. And I will share my thoughts on her after we take a look at what you can do. So let's jump in.
Play together, win together.
Play together, win together. Let's go. So here we can see what her abilities are here. If you want to take a look and see any of that, we're going to look over the numbers when we get to each ability. But here she is. She's in her mech. Take a look. There you go. That's just her default skin right there. So what can good old D.Mon here do? Well, let's start with her primary fire, which is her plasma saber. You can see it here. Fast energy melee weapon. Does 60 damage, has a range of 4 meters. Very, very simple. There you go. It swings. You can hit people, multiple targets, like so. Very, very, very simple weapon there. Nothing too crazy there. Her first ability, of course, as we're going to talk about, is her power barrier. You can hold right-click to deploy a frontal energy barrier similar to what you have with Reinhardt or Brig. There you go. Barrier's up. It's 650 health. I believe that is... I know it's less than Rein's and more than Briggs. It's in the middle. Not a huge barrier. It's only a little bit bigger than she is, but it has some size. You can stand behind it if you are a person trying to keep a corner or something like that. That ability you just saw there, of course, is her left click when she has her shield up. That is Surging Strike. So while power barrier is deployed, you can strike forward to damage and push enemies back. There is your kind of numbers there, in case you wanted to see that. So you can do it. It will knock back enemies. It doesn't have a ton of knockback. I mean, this railing obviously hinders knockback a bit, but you can see here. There you go. Bye, Tracer.
Drop was lethal.
She's dead. Her next ability we're going to take a look at is her shift ability. That is her propulsors. You consume fuel to surge in any horizontal direction. So, no verticality with it. You can't go up if you want to go up. You normally go forward. Or whichever way your mouse is, or you're moving. So you can kind of strafe with it. You can move backwards with it. So if you find yourself in a fight and you're needing to back out, you can just dash backwards like that. You can escape quickly, which is something that I feel like I will be using quite a lot because you do kind of need to do it that way. So you have a lot of mobility options. You don't, like I said, have the verticality. You're not going to be able to booster your way up onto surfaces, but you can probably use it to get,
Boosters on.
you know, for example, you got something like this, where you might be able to boost your way across a platform that you wouldn't otherwise be able to reach, as is, you know, the tendency with heroes like that. Let's just see. Let's go. Whee! Look at that. Look at how easy that was. There you go. And her final main ability is her E ability. That is her fusion repeater, which activates a rapid fire machine gun. And you, of course, have some hit scan damage on there. 4-second duration, 15 damage. It does have spread, which is a little annoying, but there you go. You can use that follow-up right there with a kill, just like that. And, of course, her final ability we have is her ultimate ability, Limit Break. You unleash a sweeping slash that grants self-overhealth and amplifies damage taken by enemies. So, let's show you how this works. You see they get the little purple there. So they'll take more damage when you hit them with the ultimate. I believe... Does it say how long it lasts? 5-second effect duration. So for 5 seconds, they'll take more damage. Your overhealth decays after 3 seconds, 250 base overhealth plus 50 per enemy hit. So you can get a lot of overhealth, but it's not going to last a super long time once you do get it. Of course, she is a tank, so she does have a couple of passives that we need to talk about. Her unique passive ability is the eject passive. Similar to D.Va, when her health is dropped to 0, she will eject, and we'll take a look at that in a second. She also, of course, as a tank, gives less ultimate by healing and damage received, or less ultimate given to enemies by the healing and damage received, or to allies with the healing. Increases base health in role queue game modes, and then as a stalwart, she gains knockback and slow resistance. Now, she also has her perks, so we can take a look at those real quick. So her 2 minor perks are Beast Within and Mecha Mobility. I can't speak sometimes. Beast Within, she gets the ability for Plasma Saber hits to heal her power barrier by 40 health, which is pretty good. And Mecha Mobility, which is while holding power barrier, your propulsor's fuel cost is reduced by 30%. So in theory, that's a good one if you want to kind of play more escape heavy, if you're trying to engage into a fight or disengage from a fight, put your barrier up, you can back in and out more. But I also believe you're slower when you're holding your shield, so I actually think you probably just move the same amount. Is that correct? Yeah, so you have a 30% movement speed when you are holding your shield up. So that doesn't really do much, I think, other than just make it so that you would move the same amount of distance, but you get your shield up. So it's not nothing, but it's interesting. I think Beast Within, personally, I prefer this one. I think having the ability to restore your barrier health when you engage with a fight, I think is probably a bit stronger. Then for her major perks, you have Overstrike, where Surging Strike gains 150% lifesteal, and Focused Fusion, where the fusion repeater fires stronger shots with no spread at a slower rate. So we'll take a look at those real quick. I think let's take a look at... We'll take a look at... We'll see. Let's do this one first.
Good
and
stuff.
We'll do this one first.
Now we're talking.
So I guess I didn't really show you the shield one, so we'll actually have to do this a different way. Anyway, here's the gun as it is now. You can see no spread, so the damage is much more consistent, but slower, but more damage per shot. I definitely think this perk is good. I think both of her major perks are very, very good. I personally prefer the Overhealth because I just feel like from the games I played as her sustainability is not amazing, and I'll talk more about that later. But I do think it's something worth noting that is something that she has as an ability.
Playing defense.
Also, the fuel cost. Well, here's how I can really show this. Here's the normal fuel rate consumption, right?
Boosting.
Okay, pretty fast. Now when I have the shield up, you can see much slower there. So that is a thing of note. Let's get demeched real quick so I can show you her remech, because that is, I think, the biggest thing that is left to show in terms of her kit that you all would not have seen yet. Overall, I think the way that her kit works is really interesting, and when I kind of show you the gameplay and talk about my actual experiences playing as her more later, we can dive into that deeper. But here we have her out of her mech. You can see, unlike D.Va, who has that little bunny blaster, well, this doesn't show it. D.Mon has a giant gun. She actually, I think it's the gun from Beast that she just pulls off and uses. And you can see it fires the same way as her regular gun does. And then she gets her call mech ult up. Now, I'm sure you're all wondering, does call mech do damage? Can I kill an enemy with call mech? I'm sure it's the thing you're wondering. Well, let me answer your question for you right here, right now.
Jumping back in.
Yes, you can. It doesn't do
You're
as
out
much
of
damage
bounds.
as D.Va's call mech, but it does do damage, as you can see. One of my biggest criticisms of this ability is I think the cooldown time, or not the cooldown time, the ability time that it takes to actually cast the ability is very long. If I did my timing right, it's not perfect. D.Va's call mech takes about 2 seconds. Demon's takes like 3.5 to 4 seconds. Somewhere in that range. I don't know the exact number. It might be like 3 seconds, depending on just when I actually like start and end the timer. I did it manually. I didn't do it in a real way, but it feels very slow, especially in game. So that's something that I noticed I didn't love. But let's do a quick little change so I can show you the other
You don't play together,
two
win together.
perks that she has. So we're gonna take that one,
Solid
and we're gonna
choice.
take that one. So
Worth the grind.
we need to take a little bit of damage real quick. So, oh no, we've taken damage. Oh no, the barrier has taken damage. We can heal and get health back on the barrier. So you can see as I deal damage, you can see those numbers right there going up. I think this is a very interesting set of perks. This is the combo that I used for the most part when I was playing as her. This is the ones that I personally prefer, but I do think there is reason to take Focus Fusion. I think that one is really, really, really good. Especially, I think it gives you better. It makes it easier to kill targets. I think that will make that one really popular. I always love abilities with lifesteal, especially when I'm learning to play a hero for the first time. I like having those kind of fallback abilities that make it a little bit easier to sustain yourself. And she's a tank, and I think that kind of makes it nice to have. So, those are her abilities. That's all of that. Let's jump into the fun of this, and let's talk about the actual experience playing as her in-game and dive a little bit more into her in action when the game is not just the training range, and I can actually share my thoughts on her. So let's get into that. Before I share my thoughts, I did want to real quick do something I've never really done before one of these videos, but I'm here on Busan Mecha Base real quick because, as you know, the map did get a rework, and part of the rework was finally adding a new room. Obviously, we've had D.Va's room over here for years, ever since the map first came out, but now we can take a look at D.Mon's room. We can see what she has. So she has a bunch of weapons on display. That's a little weird, D.Mon, I'm not gonna lie. She's got some stuff here. Definitely way more organized than D.Va is. She's got all of her Gundam that she likes to build. She's got a croissant. She got a jetpack cap pillow. Isn't that neat? So there you go. Little fun thing to look at. This room is way bigger than D.Va's too. What the hell? Maybe is it bigger? It looks bigger than D.Va's. Good for you, D.Mon. Good for you. So as you can probably tell, I do have a lot of very strong thoughts about D.Mon as a character, both as a hero in the game and as a character that I have been very excited for her to be in the game for a very long time. Because when we first got her announced, it wasn't so much like... I know there's going to be a lot of people out there who were like, we get another, like, girl that they can make cute skins for, and that's why people are excited. And I'm sure there's a lot of people like that, and I don't know why I'm bringing this up as my first point. But for me, it was I looked at Beast, the mech that she pilots, and I saw a mech with a ton of hero potential. You have a barrier that kind of feels reminiscent to Reinhardt, and a sword in a way that is feeling also kind of similar to Reinhardt, even if the weapon is slightly different. And so I do think a lot of this hero is in a place for me where I look at it and I say, like, what are they going to do with her when they add her into the game? What are we going to get when she's really here in the game in a way that is physical? And how are they going to differentiate her, of course, from D.Va, the other hero that is a mecha pilot that, you know, has a similar kind of backstory in a lot of ways, and also differentiate her from a hero like Reinhardt or other tank players or tank heroes that use barriers and kind of feel that way. And so I think there was a bit of an undertaking with D.Mon as a hero that I think I want to at least give that kind of acknowledgement, that I do think it is important to kind of make her feel unique and interesting and different from both of those kinds of camp of heroes. My initial thought on her, with that out of the way, I do think she needs a bit of tweaking in terms of some of her numbers. I think she's a little weak right now. I do think that the style of play, this game that you're watching here footage for, was, I want to say, my fourth game as her. And it really took until kind of late in those games that I started to kind of figure out how to play her better. I don't think she is Reinhardt. I think that's one of those things that she feels very Reinhardt-like in the design. Like, when you look at her visually, you get the sense that she's kind of Reinhardt-like. And I think that that's probably not true. I actually saw a lot of people say that she kind of plays in a lot of ways like Winston. And I think when I started to adopt that philosophy of playing as her, I actually kind of understand where they're coming from and kind of agree. In the sense that the way she engages in fights, the way she goes into fights, is a little bit more reminiscent of Winston. You go into a fight, you kind of keep your shield up, you back out of the fight when you need to. She's not someone who's really a great front-lining, hold the line tank, despite being a stalwart, kind of having that sub-role that feels like how she should play. I think she's kind of this mix of the two. And I think that has helped me a bit feel a little bit better about her. I do think she's a little weak right now. I think her numbers are pretty low, especially her damage numbers. I'm not saying bump her sword up to do 80 to 100 damage. I think Reinhardt does 100 damage with his hammer. I don't think D.Mon needs to be doing that much damage. I don't think her sword should be doing less damage than a Torb hammer. That's just my opinion. I think it probably should be a little bit stronger than what it is now. But I don't think it needs to be a ton. I also think there might be a bug in the game right now where when she uses her gun and then puts her shield back up, people can shoot through the shield. So I think there is a bit of bugginess going on with her right now that could also be contributing to some of the struggles that I've had with playing the hero so far. But I am interested to see where she goes, because I think she has a very fun kit. I like the way she feels, other than, as I mentioned before, her remake animation is really, really long. It takes way too long. They need to speed that up. They need to cut out some of the speed on it, especially on the back end. There's the moment where the mech is built, and then I feel like there's another second before you're actually able to do anything, and that is where my biggest issue lies with her. It's the one place where I feel like she needs a bit of tweaking, and I understand that there is a balance aspect to it, and you don't want her able to kind of get back in the fight too quickly, which I think, to me, is kind of nonsense, because you haven't been in the mech, right? You have had to build your ult again as a squishy little hero to try to get back into the mech. I think that once you've gotten the charge needed to get back into the mech, you should be able to get back into the mech relatively quickly. I also think the game does not feel good when you are kind of in a state of helplessness where you've pressed a button and then you can't do anything for 3 seconds. I don't think that's good game design. I don't think that feels good or fun as a player, and I would prefer if that was not really the way it was designed. I think a little bit more speed on that remake is my biggest criticism overall, other than some other number tweaks potentially to her damage, maybe her barrier size and health. I don't want to go too heavy on going full out buffing her, because I think every time there's a new hero, every time there's a new hero, I feel like the response is either this hero is busted as hell or this hero is really bad. And usually, sometimes they release a new hero and they are busted as hell, and sometimes they release a hero and they're really, really bad. A lot of the time, they release a hero and people just don't know how to play them yet, and they think they do. And so I am curious to kind of see where a week from now and 2 weeks from now and a month from now, where does D.Mon sit? Do we get a little buff hotfix patch at some point this season? Do we wait until the mid-season patch for that? I don't know. But overall, I am happy with D.Mon and where she is right now. There is stuff I would like to see them improve with her. Like I said, remake time and numbers on the damage, I think, are the two biggest places where she needs tweaked. This is my favorite part of this clip, where Lifeweaver uses tree and traps me on the other side of the tree and then has to life grip me back to safety when he could have just not put the tree down behind me. But I digress. He was trying to save me. I will give him the respect he needs. But like, speaking of Lifeweaver, Lifeweaver's a hero that when Lifeweaver released, I did not like Lifeweaver. I did not like the kit. I mean, they had to hotfix that and change the way the kit worked pretty much immediately, because it was such a clunkily made kit, and the way the buttons and stuff worked it was so bad. It was so bad. And that's the thing I'm glad they changed, because it was not good. D.Mon is not that for me at all. I actually really like D.Mon. I like the way she plays. I just think she's a little weaker than she needs to be, and I think the game would, or the hero would benefit from some buffs just to get her a little bit better. I've heard a lot of people saying she feels better in 6v6 than in 5v5. I don't play 6v6, so I don't really have thoughts either way. It did cross my mind that she might be a pretty solid main tank option to pair with like Azaria. I've also heard a lot of people say she feels really good on off tank. So I don't know what the vibe in 6v6 is with her. If you are a 6v6 player and have feelers on that, I'd love to hear from you in the comments about it, what you think about her in 6v6, if it is good or not. Like I said, I don't know. I don't play 6v6, so those are kind of my thoughts on D.Mon. I probably could talk about her for a long time, because I do think, as a hero that I've been wanting for as long as I have, I am very excited to at least just like have the opportunity now to sit down and learn how to play this hero. I think she's fun. I think she's really interesting, and I'm hoping that the feedback from the community will lead to her being a little bit better than she is right now. I think the devs have moved away a bit from the like, let's make heroes stronger when we first release them and then pull them back, because there's no more hero trials. So they don't want to make heroes too strong immediately when they're hitting competitive, because they don't have that quick play test that they used to have. So we'll see what happens if there's some kind of major tweak or anything with D.Mon, but that's where my opinion is on her right now. So lots of thoughts, like I said. I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on D.Mon? Do you think she feels good? Do you think she feels not so good? Whatever your thoughts, I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. But that is going to be all from me for today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want more like it in the future, consider liking and subscribing, as your support is greatly appreciated. This is the only one of the hero predictions that I made earlier this year that has been right so far, other than the fact that Shion would be part of the Hashimoto clan. So at least I can look and say I got the obvious one right, by the way. So whatever our next two heroes are that we don't know who they are yet, we know nothing about them, we don't know which one is coming next. I'm excited, I can't wait. BlizzCon's coming up. I'm probably going to be making some videos once BlizzCon happens. So lots of cool stuff coming, so your support does help out a lot. That's all for today. Thank you all once again. I hope you're all staying safe and staying healthy. And until next time, bye-bye.